One of the most amazing things we can notice when we look at the greatest marathon runner of all time, Eliud Kipchoge, is how much time he spends running at a relatively slow pace. Whenever we look at a fast runner, we assume that they naturally have the ability to go out and run faster for longer, and doing that more consistently is the secret to their success. Yet we look closely at the training of champions, not only like Eliud Kipchoge, but those around him who are also posting world-class times, and you realize very quickly that the secret to success doesn't look like the regularity in which they run the super fast sessions, but their ability to continually show up and run at a relatively slow pace for a long time while injecting a number of faster sessions into their training week. Whenever a marathon runner joins our marathon method training plan over at Relax Running, one of the first questions they have is, why is it that you have such a big focus on longer, slower running with only smaller amounts of faster pace work injected into the training week? When you boil it down by its numbers, it's perhaps less surprising that so much of the work is done at a slower pace. In fact, research came out not too long ago which looked at the training of Eliud Kipchoge, and this research showed that 85% of his 200 Ks per week is done around an aerobic base level, zone 1 if you're looking at heart rate training plans. There are a lot of benefits to training like this, but one of the big benefits when looking at the training program of Eliud Kipchoge is that this zone 1 level training pace, or think conversational running pace, allows him to rock up day after day after day and lay an incredible foundation of strength and consistency into his training. That practice alone, if you can do it consistently without interruptions due to injuries and breaks and inconsistencies that often come up with a more intense training program, lays a foundation for incredible strength to be developed through your own running. When you have that strength, in Eliud Kipchoge's case, to run 200 to 240 kilometers some weeks, your ability to be able to inject some faster pace work into your training week is going to be received more effectively than if you're constantly doing faster sessions each week. On a practical level, it makes sense that harder your body works on a daily basis, the more difficult it's going to be to recover. So as we're injecting more kilometers into our week, we have to be cautious not to overdo the distance and the intensity and take away some of the positive results that could be gained from the faster, more intense session, like your progressive runs, your tempos, your hills, or your intervals, which is where we want to push towards that zone 3 level training style. Whenever we look at details of success, often we think it's going to be the really complex secrets that get revealed to us, which are going to be the eye-opening factors that we need to apply to our training. It's the reason that so many of us are obsessed with modern science, finding out the best shoes and the best diet and the best hydration. There are a lot of elements that go into running. But when you look at the foundation or the structure of the world best athletes like Eliud Kipchoge in the running scene, what you quickly realize is that the training is incredibly monotonous. A lot of the weeks look exactly the same as the last week. In fact, a new marathon runner's eyes might look at it and go, I don't really understand how this is the secret. I thought it was going to be far more complex. But sometimes it's our focus on the simplicity and our ability to back up those simple things consistently which see a massive result. So over the course of an Eliud Kipchoge average training week, he runs around 13 runs per week, averaging around 200 to 220 kilometers a week. Out of those 13 runs, 85% of them, or 10 runs, are done at a really easy training load. Now, what's easy for Eliud Kipchoge? This is where it gets a little scary. Obviously, we're looking at the world record holder for the marathon. He's the greatest we've ever seen. His easy runs, even at altitude, are done between 4 and 5 minute K pace. Despite the fact that that pace might seem incredibly quick to so many of us, there's a lot that we can glean from the training program that Eliud Kipchoge uses. Firstly, how intense is your training on a daily basis? When you go out for an easy run, do you always stick to the fact that that's going to be an easy run, even if you feel good? A lot of athletes, when they feel good, knowing that they're connected to Strava and that people are going to see their runs, will go out, they might be feeling pretty fresh, pretty relaxed, and feeling really good. So over the last couple of miles, last few kilometers, they start to increase the pace and gradually work their way up up through the heart rate zones. Maybe what should have been quite an easy run towards the end of it sees you working harder and running faster based on how good you're feeling throughout that run. While it might be okay to do that once every now and then, doing this on a consistent basis starts to take away our ability to recover effectively from those harder sessions that we want to be focused and deliberate on implementing into each and every one of our weeks. So if you had an honest look at your training program and you were to say, how many times are you running hard per week? Are you running harder than what the world record holder for the marathon is running in terms of regularity? If so, why? The classic saying goes that success leaves clues, and if the best marathon runner of all time and all his training partners, who just quietly are a number of the best marathon runners of all time as well, are not training as intensely as what you are, who needs to do the learning here? I would encourage you to spend a little bit of time looking at your training program and finding out where is there too much intensity, how can you draw it back so that on the hard day sessions you can really focus on hitting it well. Maybe it's time to take a step back and question the intensity that you're constantly rocking up and doing. Maybe you need to draw back the intensity so you can focus on building up the miles. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns or any confusions, make sure you let us know in the comments below. But for more specific guidance and for coaching with me towards your marathon or half marathon plan, jump on board our Marathon Method training plan via the description below and make sure you use the coupon code to save yourself some coin. Look forward to hearing from you. Look forward to hopefully working with you. Happy training, and I'll see you all here again next week.